Great day, my lovies. Great day to you. I hope that you can hear me wonderfully. As you come in, please let me know if you can hear me okay. We're outside today, so oh, got to enjoy it. We're going to be working with my. Okay, so for starters, listen, today is a gloriously magical and beautiful day. And I am so grateful to be present. I am so grateful to be experiencing and existing in this current time and space. I'm getting our crystals out to create a beautiful landscape around. I've got some wonderful stones to be working with today. And I'm just grateful to be in this current time and space. Listen, we are coming together. It's 9:11 right now as we are sitting together. Oh, I've got some beautiful adorning tools, and they can get some of this nice sunshine as well too. And while it's not an emergency scenario, we are definitely in a space where new cycles are beginning and all doors are open, right? So that nine energy is going to be the energy of cycles. And as a life path nine, I resonate with that so vehemently. But then we're talking about the 11 partnered with that. And the 11 is going to be the energy of open doors. The ones together looks like a portal and a pathway. So when we're talking about new cycles, new energies, new starts, we're sitting in this new moon in Aries energy. And baby, that's nothing but new start, new energy, and new opportunities to move forward. So forgive me for the lack of eye contact right on the onset because we are getting everything set up, right? I was given the indication, like, Source said you need to get up and record today. And I was like, okay, I hear you. I have been following what Source advises just without question lately. Like, I just without question. They have been very, question. They have been very moving me in a aspect in which everything is working out in my favor, right? And I cannot negate all of the bountiful blessings that I have received in this current moment, right? So as the sun rotates around, listen, I am not hindered or limited in any way because the universe is our trusted companion and aid. And as long as you continue to walk in open, confident knowledge of self, listen, you will achieve monumental health, success, stability, purpose, guidance, protection, inspiration, creativity, motivation, protection, and wealth. Ashe, and so it is. So this is our beautiful tuning fork that we're going to be utilizing today. We are tuning in, right? We are tuning in and tapping into this energy of new beginnings, right? And we say new beginnings. For starters, I am in a brand new space, literally, figuratively, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, even right now, this is a brand new space for me. Sitting on the backdrop that I'm with right now. So behind me is a nice lake. In front of me is this beautiful tree. Off to my left is another beautiful tree, but running through that is one of the major roads in this area. And it's this beautiful platform that is right here that when I moved into this new space, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like an ideal component for me to actually be able to utilize and record from. So I plan to do more sessions like we're doing here now, but also to be able to host like a bar session outside, like just being able to be open and expressive, but utilize all of this natural energy, right? The sun is shining, the air is so still right now. And so that is something for me that was so inviting. And I was just like, listen, yes, I have the ability to record the first half of my masterclass here that is currently available right now. And so if you have found value and benefit in the work that you've seen from me, however we've connected, whether it was on your For You page, if you're finding me here now, if someone told you about the Lotus Mother, thank you so much for those that have been spreading the beautiful essence of my work and my capabilities. I openly appreciate and thank you. Thank you for sharing this with the others that you know can benefit from being in the room that you find value in too. Ashe, and so it is. Listen, let's tune that energy in as well too, right? And so I encourage you to continue to share not only the information that you find here, but also those that you find value in. Sharing that information further helps not only them, but you, because you are guiding others in a path that can be uplifting, inspirational, motivational, inspiring, and beneficial for them as well too. Ashe, and so it is. Like we on a new level, okay? We on a new frequency. And speaking of that frequency, as I was stating originally, is that I had to get comfortable with really being seen because, as I stated, and again, forgive me for the lack of eye contact, but let me know as you come into the space, right? Drop a heart and let me know that you can hear me okay because I'm also wearing my beautiful J Lab earbuds. When I tell you, I love them and they are currently in my showcase right now as well too. But when I tell you that these are some of the most amazing earbuds that I have ever utilized, they are tremendously phenomenal. So on top of the fact that they are flesh tone. So you can't really tell that the earbuds are in, right? That's one of the things that I really love about these. You can't really tell that the earbuds themselves are in, but then they fit so comfortably inside of the ear. They come with a variety of ear protectors or fitters, right? They come with a variety of ear fitters. But then when they are in place, they are snug. So when you utilize the ones that are best suited for your ears, when you put them in, they are super snug. They don't go anywhere. I wear these when I'm working out, when I am in the boutique, when I am hosting sessions, and the quality is phenomenal. I've had them for well over a year, and I actually dropped them yesterday. Okay, welcome in, Diaz. Thank you so much for joining the space today. I'm Lotus. The present and be seen. Thank you so much for joining us today. But as I was thinking about the earbuds, I dropped it for like the first time yesterday and I kind of was a little nervous just because it's like, okay, but I put it right back in, no issue. So they are very durable, high quality, and they are moisture resistant. Like I say, I wear them when I'm working out, and I'm an elliptical cardio girly. When I tell you I get in 7 to 8,000 strides on the elliptical within an hour, mama be working up a sweat. So these stay in, they don't shift. I mean, sometimes it does get a little bit like, oh, let me reposition it. Okay, but that's just from the natural waning and waxing of your body throughout the day, right? So when you're more hydrated, sometimes it can get a little looser. And then if you're feeling underhydrated, then you may find that it's a little bit more snug. And then that's just your body's way of saying, like, hey, did you get your liquids in today? With that being said, I will drink to that. Got my coffee, boo. This is a beautiful mushroom coffee. Mama has been on the mushroom coffee for a solid 90 days without going back to one of my favorite coffee shops that we will not discuss. Although I still support their choices, they just had to be moved away from they had to be moved away from me right now because it was better suited for me, and this mushroom coffee has been a godsend for me. It's great for my digestive system, it's great for my energy levels, and it's great for the adaptogenic properties. So I can drink a cup or two of this a day don't find that I'm having any level of energetic depletion, right? It doesn't necessarily overtly energize, but if I haven't had any, I don't feel like my body is not able to find its own rhythm. It enhances my own natural rhythm. So I love this. Mushroom coffee, get with it. As a matter of fact, it's in my showcase too, just like the earbuds. So I'm still getting our space all set up here today. Welcome on in. I appreciate you for joining me here today. And I was guided to record. As I said, I have been following Spirit, Source, Universe, Creator very closely. And that's not a new aspect for me, but it is something that I have strengthened in order to be productive in my current adventure. Strengthened in order to be productive in my current ventures. And as a certified elemental healer and holistic practitioner, it's one of the things that I teach my clients adamantly is to be guided in your own choices and decisions. And so when I rose today, I did my normal morning, let's get up, let's breathe in, speak that today is the most successful day of my life because I have the pleasure and privilege of living out my dreams in real time. I am open to receiving miracles in a manner that I've never experienced before. And I am so grateful for allowing Universe Source Creator to work through me in order for me to be a good steward of wills. And a new moon energy session focusing on new beginnings. Comment new start to join. I love it. It's a new moon energy session focusing on new beginnings. Comment new start to join. Listen, I love that that is where we are at this particular time and focusing on that new energy. It's amazing, absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful for you joining me in this session here today. So as I continue to get the space set up for us, I started by lighting a beautiful white candle that I actually found at IKEA. Okay, so one of the things that I have experience and now the scent, as I said and mentioned the candle, the fragrance walked right into my direction. Yes, Ashe, and so it is. One of the things that I've been doing is to venture out and experience some of the new places that are around me, as you should when you relocate, right? Like that's one of the biggest components. But there also were places that I only knew of and never were able to physically go into those locales because why they were in my prior location. IKEA is one of them. And when I tell you that mama was like, "Oh, what? Okay. I am in love. I may or may not be in love with them. So I have to be very mindful so I don't overextend myself because it's easy to do. And so today we're going to be working with and getting us set up right now. We have some green aventurine. Green aventurine. Okay. Green aventurine is a great stone of not only is it a heart centered stone, but it is a great stone of prosperity and courage to follow what drives your heart, right? So it's a beautiful heart centered stone. Most green stones are going to be in that heart centered energy. But we're going to be working as I'm setting up our grid. I've got our beautiful white candle going. I've been tuning our frequency to a 1047 hertz. So we've been utilizing our tuning fork. We've got this beautiful natural element that is coming in with the birds, the trees, the sun. And so we're going to start with placing our green aventurine onto our space at this particular time. And then we're also going to come in with some amethyst. Amethyst is a great stone of inspiration, meditation. Okay, it's a beautiful mind stone. If you have insomnia, amethyst can be a great stone to place beside your bed, right? Or maybe underneath your pillow. It's great for clearing the mind. So I wear amethyst most of the day And it's great for if you are in a position that is very intellectually driven. So I work with the public. Thank you so much for the hearts. Welcome on in. Is it Angie? Angie, boo, Angie. Okay, Angie, thank you so much. I love you. Appreciate you. But I work with teaching and guiding individuals on a daily basis. And so with that, amethyst helps to keep clarity in the mind. And because it quiets the mind, it aids you with having a clearer components of your own thoughts, deciphering whether or not those are your thoughts or it's picking up the energy of others around you, right? So amethyst is a really great mind energy stone. So we're going to bring the amethyst in. So why? So we can have clarity in our mind. We have the courage to follow our hearts, okay? We have the courage to follow our hearts, our dreams, our insight, our intuition. And then we are going to be very clear in the mind. So we have that amethyst and we have that green aventurine. And that's going to be on that left energy here for us with our beautiful white candle that's coming in. And we're going to keep tuning that energy to that beautiful 1047. And as the breeze flows through, allow that energy to be cleared, right? Clear your mind and open your heart. Get grounded into this space. As we clear the mind and open our heart, we are grounded into this space. We are clearing the mind and we're opening the heart and we are grounded into the space. And listen, I know things have been a little discombobulating recently. I personally have undergone some major transformations and transitions in my life. We're going to be bringing in some lupitolite. Okay, so lupitolite is another great energy of balance, emotional and mental regulation and balance. So lupitolite gives you that level of calm and relaxation. We're going to start this covering our space starting onto the right. So we have our green aventurine and we're going to counterbalance that with some lupitolite. So as we're getting into, forgive me, I have the hiccups, as we're getting into that prosperous, heartfelt, energetic space, we still want to have that emotional balance regulation, right? Because sometimes when we get excited about something, oh, we are excited, we are ready to go. We have the insight. We are looking at the information and we're like, oh, okay, I want to take on this obstacle, right? I want to take on this new challenge. I want to take on this goal. I can see the vision, right? Green aventurine, where we're in the heart because you feel it in your heart and you start seeing it in your mind, right? You feel it in your heart and you start seeing it in your mind. You get that creative energy going. Sometimes it gives you some anxiousness, right? You get a little anxious, you're feeling a little overwhelmed because you're like, I want all of this to happen for me right now. Aries energy, right? So we're on that cusp, we're in that new moon in Aries as we transition from Aries, that fiery action, into that rooted and structured energetic Taurus. Taurus is going to bring us in the energy of what we value, what our home, our stability. Home is also like the vessel in which we house our spirit. So home is not only our physical home, but it is also going to be our emotional, mental, and spiritual home too, right? So we want to create that balance. So we got in that lupitolite. But we get all, we're fired up and we're just like, yes, I want to move through this right now. I want this to come to fruition right now. I want this $100,000 right now, which you deserve. You are worthy and deserving of receiving your dreams taking place in real life. One of the things that I speak upon rising each and every day is that today is the greatest day of my life because I am living out my dreams in real time. I am living out my dreams every day in real time. And I take a moment every rising to speak about what I want to bring about. Listen, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Yesterday is a memory. Yesterday, you only bring yesterday into today if you allow what you gained to be solidified. Because if it doesn't matter, it doesn't materialize, right? So, in order for it to matter, in order for it to materialize, you have to bring it into the current time. And we're living in current moment mode, okay? And so, with that current moment, and we're going to utilize that labradorite to be the ceiling anchor on that right hand side. Labradorite, again, is a beautiful mind stone. It's a Sagittarian energy, but labradorite is really great about action, but also it's going to be very protective, right? Why? Because we want to be protected in the action that we're taking. So, as we were stating, you get very animated, you get very active, you get very activated, right? You're ignited, you're fired. You're ignited because you have your fire. When you feel that activation, that rising, you want to move, you want to be able to receive it in that real time. But there's going to take some steps that'll need to be completed prior to receiving what you're speaking about into your current reality. So you have to be able to root that, hence, we're going into Taurus season, right? You have to be able to root that fire, right? That energy, that movement into strong steps and action. Now that you're invigorated, now that you're activated, now that you're feeling motivated, now it's time to create value, structure, stability, and purpose around it. Ashe, and so it is. I tell you, this is such a beautiful energy to be sitting in because, ooh, sometimes we don't we don't see the outcome before we're fully taking the movement, right? We don't see the outcome before we're fully taking the movement. And that's where faith comes in. That's where your faith has to come in. And as we're sitting here, we're rooted with our grain of venturing. We've got that courage. We've got that prosperous excitement. And we've got our labradorite that's going to be across from that, that's going to give us the insight and the nurtured guidance to make actionable steps that are protected and stable. And then we're going to cross reference that with our lepidolite because we're going to have that emotional, mental, and spiritual balance. And we reference that energy here over to what's that? Our amethyst. Why? Because what we visualize is going to come through with rooted prosperity. Ashe, ashe, and so it is. Yes. What we visualize is coming through with rooted prosperity. Ashe, and so it is. So now that we've set up the crystal grid for our heart centered energy, I'd be interested to hear what of your favorite crystals might be, or what crystals that you might be working with right now, or ones that you can actually recommend that may be of value and benefit to someone else. As a certified crystal healer, I have had the privilege of working with stones in a magnanimous way, right? And so, with me, the ones that I currently have, I could not in any way, shape, or form. Setting up a crystal store is in my future. I know it. Like, it's just setting up a full fledged crystal shop is in my future. I completely know that. But there's no way that on this move I could have brought all of my crystals. There was absolutely no way. And even before I relocated, I ended up actually gifting some to others because I didn't want them to just be sitting in storage, right? They are living, breathing parts of our reality, right? So they are of the earth, they are here to aid us, and that they should be shared adamantly, right? We should be sharing those adamantly. And so there was no way that I could necessarily bring all of my fullest collection. But what I did do is bring, as the ones that you just saw me setting up with my crystal grid, I did bring ones that I knew had a lot of versatility and I could work with them in a magnitude of ways. An additional one that I have that we're working with today is going to be my rose quartz wand. Now, this is something that I can use during meditation. It's something that I can use for like body work. It's something that I can use for distance energy work when I'm working in heart centered and love attracting energy for others. It's something that I use when I'm meditating that I just need to return back to self. So this was another one that I brought with me that had a lot of versatile properties. Plus it's quartz. And quartz is going to be one of the most abundant minerals that you have. It's highly programmable to your energy and it's easy to clear and cleanse. So a lot of versatility with it. So we have this that is in our space today as well. And then I have, oh my goodness, this right here. This is my baby. I love my seahorse. Okay, so this is a chevron amethyst seahorse wand. Now, the other day, which I have moved beyond it because, you know, it's a tool and I have to be comfortable with things changing around me. But I dropped it and it broke, right? So its tail got a little bit removed, and one of its horns got a little shard. So it has transformed into a new space, right? It has transformed into a new vessel, if you will. But this is my chevron amethyst wand. And I utilize this when I'm actually speaking regularly. So if you've ever had the privilege of seeing any of my other videos, you may very well have seen me utilizing this, but this is my microphone. And as we have talked about with amethyst, amethyst is a really great stone of communication, right? So clarity of the mind, it's going to be relaxing and rejuvenating. So I utilize this when I'm communicating as a great way and a conduit to create clear, concise, meditative, as well as clear communication details. So this is one of my favorites that I brought along with me as well too. But it got a little bit of an injury, so it's okay. You know, in proper time and proper space, all things fall into place. Ashe, and so it is. And we're going to tune that energy into our space because in proper time and proper space, everything does fall into place. And I need you to know that, right? I need you to know that everything is really working out in your favor. And I know it doesn't feel like that all of the time. Serpentine, great medicine of shedding. So serpentine for me reminds me of like serpent the snake, but it helps with that transformative energy. So I brought, because I relocated to a new place, forgive me, I had the hiccups. I brought this along because why? It's really great for transformational energy. So when you are going through that level of transformation, so we just came out of the winter, right? We're sitting in the crux of April. We're shifting from Aries into Taurus. We came through winter. We just got into the spring, new life, new energy. We've got this new moon energy that we're sitting under, right? When we're going through those transformational aspects and we're shedding the old, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. Remember, we were talking about being fired up. We are ready to go and we want everything to happen right here and now. Okay, good. Keep that same energy. However, keep that same energy. However, you still have to allow what no longer needs to be in your space to be removed and eradicated. Okay. So as you're going through that transformation, as you are shedding those old layers, it can be very difficult. And there's no denying that transformation can be uncomfortable. There's no denying that space. But you have to allow yourself to go through it. One of the biggest challenges I see with working with other individuals is that when they're in that transformational space, they don't want to go through the discomfort. When you don't have any rain and mud, you don't have flowers and corn, right? If there's no flower, if there's no rain and there's no mud, you're not getting any corn and you're not getting any flowers, because in order for the seed to be sprouted, in order for the seed to be sprouted, it has to go through the metamorphical process, right? The caterpillar doesn't become the butterfly without being in the cocoon. So you're going to have to go through a bit of that discomfort. There's no other way around it. And in that space, you have to be willing to witness the things that may have kept you stuck in the prior position that you were in. And that is not easy. And personally, I've done a lot of self-reflecting in my life as a individual who has kind of always been seen and witnessed, I had to reflect on things adamantly and regularly because unfortunately, sometimes I couldn't get away from the spotlight, right? I couldn't get away from it. And not necessarily always being like on stage, but as meaning like just not being away from the spotlight. I'm the eldest in my family, so as the eldest, you're going through situations, experiences, life before others around you, right? I became a mother earlier than anyone else in my family. So again, you're going through the life experiences, situations prior to anyone else. You go through things and then you either reach back in aid, or people are analyzing every action that you take. And even if you're trying to reach back in aid, people are still analyzing every action that you take. So it's been one of those things that I've had to do a lot of self reflection because I want to make sure that not only am I being the best individual that I can be, am I being the best mother, am I being what I would want someone else to replicate, and am I being what I would want somebody else to refer, right? So, in those aspects, I do some self reflecting. I look at how I'm communicating, how I'm showing up, how am I being accountable? Am I taking responsibility? Am I standing on my own word, right? Am I reflecting what I preach? Am I a practicer of what I preach? Am I reflecting what I project? Those types of energy. So, I do a lot of self reflection. I only speak about what I know, and I do not profess to be the expert in all aspects, but I am knowledgeable about a magnitude of information. And it was something I actually was sitting and meditating on just the other day, where my son would be like, "Oh, we don't Google things, we just ask my mother." Right? Okay, great. However, I'm grateful for that to be a source of wisdom, not only that my children look to, but my clients look to as well. And in that, as I said, one of the things that they don't always like when I have to go through the space with them is like, listen, we're going to have to get to the rooting of some of the situations. And part of those scenarios, discomforts, and challenges that you're experiencing, some of it is you. I know it's difficult to hear at times, but I had to hear it often more than I like because I was cycles. We talked about cycles at the beginning of this, right? Moonstone. We talked about cycles at the beginning. We started off with the nine and that 942. Listen, new cycles. We started with the nine and the one at the beginning of our session today. And Moonstone is going to be that energy of cycles, but Moonstone is also a great stone of communication. It's a great feminine energy, and it is also a water energy, right? Moonstone has Cancerian energy. But what was I just saying? Cycles, right? When you are in the cycles, but looking at yourself, if you're repeating the same cycle, we're going to get deep onto this, okay? If we're repeating the same cycles, forgive me as I'm trying to readjust. My foot is uncomfortable and it's hot in my chest. Okay. If you're repeating the same cycle as I just did multiple times, you want to see why. Why are you repeating that exact same cycle? Are you doing the same thing, expecting the outcome to be different? Now, if you are going and you realize that you're making a cake, and you are utilizing all of the proper ingredients and the cake comes out in a beautiful manner, it's delectable, it's moist, it is highly appetizing, it is appealing, it is visually component, right? If the cake is coming out in a proficient manner, continue to replicate that cycle because you are doing what is necessary in order for yourself to be proficient and to exceed expectations and to excel as a baker. I just saw that amethyst, right? Coming in reverse. We're working with amethyst meditation. So you got to sit with it a little bit more. But if you are making cake, we're using that as the example in the ingredients, and you continue, the cake continues to fall, right? You're using the same ingredients. Are you following the recipe? Are you taking shortcuts, right? Like, what are you doing? If you don't ever try to figure out why the cake keeps falling, even though you are following what you would consider a recipe, you might need to restructure and look to see if you're doing something that may be improper that is aiding with the cake not coming out into the manner of proficiency that you're seeking. So you have to now look at whatever cycle you're in, moonstone, right? And create some level of clarity around it. And you may need to actually go in and cleanse, right? Cleansing. I'm sitting here with the backdrop of the water behind me. The sun is coming in, it is rotating nicely. One of the biggest things about water, right? So I'm in the process of shopping for a new home. And one of the biggest things that I notice in a lot of new builds is that we don't have like bathtubs. That's the weirdest thing to me. I know everyone is taking showers right now, and showers are great. Like I hop in the shower, go and I do what I need to do. But I also make a very big point of sitting in a beautiful bath, getting a very deep soak, and allowing myself to be rejuvenated in the water at least once or twice a week because water is transformative. It's programmable, it's clearing, and it also aids with reconnecting and relinquishing. Reconnecting and relinquishing. And then let me explain to you what I mean by that. Reconnecting to yourself. You ever just sat back in the water and you felt super weightless, right? Just absolutely weightless. This is going to be our rose quartz, inner child healing, and we're working with the rose quartz today as well too. And we're going to get right back into that as we're talking about the water. Why? Because this is actually where it's going. You get into the water and you just feel so weightless. That energy allows you to relinquish whatever might be heavy. Because why? In order to float, you gotta let go. In order to float, you have to let go. You have to relinquish what is holding you down in order to rise up. So in order to float, you're gonna have to let go. So big part of that trust, a big part of that stability, a big part of that faith is letting go of the things that are potentially just weighing you down. That's how you keep repeating and replicating unproductive, outweighed cycles. When you get into, we were talking about rose quartz earlier in our series, early in our session rather, when we talk about like the inner child, that internal ingenue, that not even younger you, but that internal you, that voice that's always seeking to be heard, right? That voice of your creative, but that nurtured, loving innocence, that nurturing, loving innocence, when you connect to that essence and allow that to come through, you actually will get to the root of where that unproductive energy is coming. Now, could it have been like deeply rooted in childhood? Maybe, but it also can necessarily be something that is preventing you from feeling childlike. When we look at children, children are some of the most beautiful, just ingenues. Ingenues are coming out very adamantly for me today. Children are innocent in that component, right? They're so innocent. They look at things with the most amazing wonderment. If they love it, they don't care how anybody else feels. I want this. I want to go. I want to do, right? Aries energy. We're coming back to that Aries energy, and it all comes together. This is part of the work that I do, is helping you bring it all together because you get the hits, the pings, the energies from all over these places. And you got to be like, what did we say at the beginning of our series today? So I keep saying series, so this is probably going to be a series, right? I also just released my masterclass, so that's another series. So I have series, right? That's where the word series keeps popping up. When you have all of these insights, you want to do it all. And children have that wonder, right? They have that innocence and that essence, that wondrous component. And they're like, I just want to do it all. But when we are in a cycle where we feel like we're just repeating the same day over and over. Here it is. Here it is. This is where we're getting deep. When we feel like we're just repeating the same day over and over and over again, we lose that imaginative wonder. So that transformation, right? You are in a new space, and I know it doesn't feel like it because some of the old, if you will, some of that outdated, some of the things you want to let go of, you're still sitting with it. It's happening for you. Listen, the nuances are taking place. You got to be a little bit pyromorphite, patience, green amethyst. We talked about all of the amethysts that we had today, right? I've got my chevron amethyst, I have my traditional amethyst, and pyromorphite is another level of amethyst, which is called green amethyst. But we're talking about our patience, and it's coming in reverse. You have to be patient, right? So as we transition into Taurus energy, this is beautiful as the details are coming out. And as you're receiving this, I'd like to hear how this is resonating to you. So go ahead and share with me how this is resonating for you. Or if you're learning more about any of the crystals that you didn't necessarily know before. I have to restructure again my leg. Oh, if you are that impatience, right? You're like you have no patience. You want it to happen like right here and now. You planted so many seeds and they are sprouting. They are sprouting. But the rain is necessary. So we're going to get back into our water component and we're talking about the water and the landscape here. A big thing that I've been doing is coming and just sitting and speaking to the water, right? Just sitting and speaking to the water. Because as I was explaining earlier, is that when you're in that water, you're in that weightless energy, you are reconnecting a lot back to source. Water is one of the most abundant resources on our planet. It's primarily comprised of water. You are primarily comprised of water. Moonstone, a Cancerian energy, right? Water. What Cancerian energy is also going to be mother. It's guided by the moon. It's that nurturing childlike energy, right? When you are letting it go, right? When you are in that space, you create so much openness and clarity. So, one of the biggest things for me has been sitting with the water, especially if I can't necessarily uh, get to like a bathtub or a body of water as I would like. In my new area right now, we have tremendous levels of bodies of water. And that has been a godsend for me because as I've gone through this transformation, as I've gone through this relocation, being able to get to a water source and actually see that restorative, relaxing, nurturing, like the wave, the current, right? The tide. It comes in and then it washes over you, and as that comes through and it creates a purification, it's relinquishing whatever was brought to the surface or that's on the surface, and it allows it to be eradicated and removed away. So that's one of the biggest components of working with the water element. It allows you to restore and release. You can release because you can receive. You can receive support, that buoyance, but in order to float, you got to let go. So now is the time to let go of what does not align. Listen, now is the time to let go of what does not align. And I know that part isn't easy. You're not, you may have feel like you just want to do a whole like fire sale and just let it all go, right? The house, the car, the clothes, the people, the everything, right? You just want to be like, I'm done. Okay. Now you can. For some people that works. Okay. I have been in spaces where I just be like, you know what, everything in this room is a no for me. Let's go, blank canvas, and move forward. For some people that works, but it doesn't work for everybody. You might not even be in a space where you can just let it all go and then rebuild from the new. However, there is one thing that you can work on today that you know. So remember the other component about it is that knowing. Remember, we're working with intuitive energy today, the lupitolite. We're going to have that emotional and mental balance. Your amethyst, that is going to be mind clearing, right? That's going to be that meditative and it's going to be clear communication. Our labradorite, you're taking structured action. And with our green aventurine, you're going to have the essence of following your heart in a prosperous, protected manner. And we're sitting in this guided meditation on water and crystal. So I'd love for you to hear how this is, how this is sitting with you today. And if you're just coming in, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. So in that space, you have to also have that patience. And that's one of the things that is not the easiest. Patience, but in proper time and proper space, everything is coming into place. So you know that there is one thing, and I'll go back and use myself as an example, the mushroom coffee that I'm enjoying here today. One of the things, and this pops right out, Thecla. Listen, Thecla, baby, the prophetess of true power. I call my power back from all times and places. I am my own. And Thecla is represented with this beautiful lion here, and this is lioness energy right here, okay? And as your resident lioness, okay, because the Lotus mother, she is a lioness in all aspects. I got that Leo sun, the Leo rising, and the Sagittarius moon. So when I tell you I am all fire, I call my power back from any and all places. I am my own. Okay, so Thecla is coming through, and we're gonna partner her with that cycle, but we're gonna keep shuffling. She just popped out right there. That's how you got to pop out sometimes, okay? And that's what I was referencing when it's saying about being on center stage and in the spotlight. Sometimes I don't have a choice. Like I gotta move in my power, and sometimes that causes me to have to be visible. Even right now, I'm on center stage. Spirit said you need to get up and you need to record today, and that's what I did. And where I'm sitting is on the backside of my new residence. In addition to welcome in, I'm so grateful that you're joining here today. Thank you so much. I am on the backside of my new residence, and on that is behind me. The landscape is a body of water, but also to my left is a major road in this area. So I'm sitting on center stage, right? And that's kind of some of those components that when you're moving in a space that's heart centered, you're going to be on center stage. But I go back into referencing because Tekla, she was just like, boom. But I go back into referencing myself as an example even further, as we were talking about with the mushroom coffee. You know what you need to do. I knew that I could not continue to have a relationship with coffee in the manner in which I had it, right? Like there was no way for me to do that because it wasn't great for me. And I kept kind of negating that. And in doing that, I had experiences that were counterproductive to the goals that I wanted to have, period. So I made the switch. And since then, my body has been more conducive. My energy levels are consistent and balanced. I enjoy coffee because of the connection that I have ancestrally to it. So, still enjoying it, but in a more healthy component for me. I know for some it's a trend, but for me it's a lifestyle. So that's different, right? That's about moving in an area in a manner that's conducive to you. That's calling your power back. I call my power back from all times and all places. I am my own, the prophetess of true power. Like the prophetess of true power. Thank you so much. I am grateful and appreciative to you. Hi, Moni. Oh my goddess. It is super amazingly spectacular, tremendous. Like tremendously amazing to see you in this space today. I absolutely love you, and I am tremendously grateful that we can share this time and space. Moni and I go back years, okay? And when I tell you about new cycles, I have seen this beautiful human go from every level of womanhood that you can envision. And I am grateful to still be someone that she trusts to this day. And that in itself is amazing to me. I hope that you and all of my babies are okay. I really, really do. I will have to share with you some things off sessions to let you know what has been taking place for me, but it has been a tremendous adventure, a tremendous adventure. And I hope that you and my extended family are doing phenomenally. I truly do. And that in itself, I will tell you, speaks volumes to me for someone to have supported me through all these years, that also tells me the value of the work that I do. And oftentimes we don't get to always see that. People don't always tell you, but they will show you by the actions that they display and how they continuously support you through whatever life experiences they are having and simultaneously for you. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in saying, like, oh, this is supposed to be my friend, or this is supposed to be that. Listen, we all go through life simultaneously different. Follow where I'm headed. We all go through life simultaneously different. And a when we talk about people being on different timelines, I am so grateful that we ooh, I just had a branch of the tree. It's not poop though. The other day when I was out here, I'm gonna get back into this 1 second, but I just had one of the like branch or leaves fall on my head, and I was like, okay, listen, poop, bird, like poop fell right on my blanket, like right where I was sitting. And I was like, is that poop? It is poop. But then I remembered that I'm sitting under a tree. But I also remembered that if bird poop like falls on your head spiritually, it's a sign of like good luck and prosperity. So again, I'm all for it. But then at the same time, I was like, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to wash my hair again. So I've washed my hair a lot recently, and it's starting to get a little bit drier because I am not as used to the heat here. So I've been doing some new hair regimens, and I've got this great new product that they sent me a PR package for that I'm in the process of receiving, and I'm looking to um, see how well that does. Because when I tell you this heat and this humidity, and it's not as humid as it can be from what I understand here yet, but the heat and humidity have done a wonders on mama's hair. But that also means that it's going to aid it with its growth. So I'm looking forward to it, like all the things. But cycles, people are going through life simultaneously, adjacent and differently. So and this is about jumping in the timeline. I have tremendous amount of thoughts that come through, but trust me, I follow all paths as I should. When we talk about the timeline, like jumping and or merging or condensing, like all of these things that we hear that can be like buzzwords, but what it really is occurring is that you meet someone on a path, right? Maybe you meet somebody at work, maybe you meet somebody at school. This is a version of you that exists in this particular aspect at this particular point of life because this is what you need to experience in order to get to the next level, right? So when that person comes in, they very well may be a key component in your storyline on that particular journey at that particular time. But when they serve their purpose, and follow where I'm headed with that, my son is a big gamer, okay? And he actually just got invited into a beta testing for a game that he has been doing some like content release for. So he's now getting like the next version of the game. He's getting it pre-release. So like he is super hyped. It just happened for him yesterday on the new moon energy. Okay. Yesterday I just started my new position here, transferring the work that I did in my former location. Yesterday on the new moon was the first day of my new position under my relocation. Today, under this new moon energy, I'm doing like my first live in a very long time. I also reconnected with someone that was on a previous timeline that was able to show me support, love, and encouragement, right? That is showing me support, love, and encouragement. So I use that as an example. Why? Because people come in order to aid you based upon what part they play in your journey and simultaneously for you, for them. So when that purpose is fulfilled, right? Maybe they needed to be there for a season and there was a reason. When that purpose is fulfilled, you may navigate into different paths. Don't let resentment, remember, we were talking about cycles. Don't let resentment prevent you from the blessing of the lesson. Okay? And a lot of times people do that because they'll be like, well, this person was supposed to be like my friend, or this person was supposed to do that. Okay, but what did they aid you with, and what did you gain by that experience? In those moments, you acquired something. Can you utilize what you learned for your betterment? you may have learned what not to do. That was the lesson, and that can be a blessing because they could represent an energy that you don't need to navigate with. That energy can be personified in different entities. That energy can be personified in different entities, and you will continue to replicate those cycles until you learn that that energy is rematerializing in another entity, and you'll just be like, it's a familiarity. It's a familiar, right? But familiarity does not always equate to regularity. Familiarity does not always equate to regularity. Remember, I told you I had to switch my coffee just because it was familiar and I learned it from familia. I started drinking coffee at a very young age. Okay. My grandmother and I used to sit, she would drink her Sanka. That's how Sanka coffee. And I'm not hating on Sanka. That's where I started. I was in the grocery store the other day and I was like, oh my God, Sanka. And it brought back a instant memory. It's like nutmeg and vanilla and cinnamon. Those, because they are highly utilized in baking, they have a sensory perspective that will take you back to a memory, and it's usually associated with familiar energy. Remember, rose quartz, right? That inner child, okay? But I knew that the way that I was continuously having coffee, I couldn't do that no more. So I had to create a new journey in order to still utilize the beverage healthily. Just because it's familiar does not mean it creates familiarity. Familiarity does not create regularity. And because I created a new cycle, I created a new timeline, I created a new aspect. Now I can have my coffee in an aspect that is more healthy. Why? Because I called my power back from all times and places. I am now my own. So now I can have a continual relationship in my own journey with the way that I have coffee, even though I learned it in a prior cycle of my life. Okay. So if you're finding insightful and usefulness in this on personal timelines and meeting people on your journey, let me know. Because really, this is the work that I do. And I've been doing this for well over 10 years. And I started when I was working behind the chair. So I am a licensed cosmetologist. I don't know if you can see my scissors here. Yep. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I've been working with clients behind the chair for years. My aunt was a cosmetologist. She actually started me on my journey because I loved just being in the salon. I have to switch again. And in that aspect, when I was a child, I would sit I love just being in the salon. And there was a place where you would go and you would get guidance, wisdom, nurturing. You were beautified, right? You learned all the things. You learned all the things. And as a young girl, I was like, listen, this is my life. I love it. And I still love it. Okay. I still love it. But I was like, this is my life. And so when I have the opportunity to actually go to cosmetology school and become a licensed cosmetologist, I threw myself into it completely. But one of the biggest things that I would do is I would counsel with my clients, right? They would seek my guidance because again, I became a mother at a very young age. And so you learn a lot through motherhood. You just do. As the eldest in my family, as a young mother, you just gain a lot of knowledge and it becomes wisdom when you implement it, right? So they say with age comes wisdom. That's not necessarily the truth. It's with implementation of knowledge do you gain wisdom. And as you do that, you then become wise beyond your years. Listen, I spent several years of my life sitting at the feet of my grandmother, and she walks with me every single day, and I'm so grateful. And it's one of the things that she instilled in me very adamantly is that age doesn't create wisdom, knowledge does. And the implementation of that knowledge is where wisdom lies. And when you use what you know, there is nothing that you can't sow or grow. I say it so it is. When you use what you know, there is nothing that you can't sow and grow. And we are sitting in the energy of that new moon. And this is the aspect of using what you know to sow and grow. You are wise beyond what you're giving yourself credit for. You truly are. And whatever it is that people come to you adamantly about, like if it's hair, I'll use hair as an example. To this day, people still come and be like, hey, how can I gain, or what can I do for my split ends? I need, my hair starting to go gray. I've got silver highlights that is running through this mug, okay? And one day I was like, am I gonna color her? I don't know. But I'm gonna tell you, my silver is white. Like it is white. It is like Cruella DeVille Storm white. And when I was younger, I was enamored with Storm and Cruella DeVille. Like I might be a villain supporter. They're not complete villains, and you gotta know the backdrop. I love and accept myself just as I am. 1010 on the dial. It's 1010. Everybody let's affirm that I love and accept myself just as I am, as I'm talking about my silver highlights, right? But I was looking at them and I was like, am I going to color them? You know what? No, because I always wanted to have like the Cruella DeVille or the Storm look. Now that it's starting to get that way, I can't feel some type of way about seeing that I'm getting silver highlights in my hair. Why? Because I love and accept myself just as I am. Every time I see 1010, this is a practice that I've been doing for years. I would affirm that I love and accept myself just as I am. And it aids you because think about it. Are you really loving and accepting yourself just as you are? Are you calling your power back and to be whole as only you can be? We have now been live for an hour because it's 10:11, and I remember that it was 9:11 when we started. So we have been live for an hour. And if you've been with me this whole entire time, I'm so grateful. Like, I am truly grateful. And if you have appreciated this live, I'd love for you to share not only with others, but share with me what you've gained in your appreciation because that really aids me and I'm grateful. But are you really loving and accepting yourself as you are? So, as it's starting to go silver, and I mean, it's white, y'all. I know that this, where the sun has rotated, is not as prevalent, and I don't have them as many as I think. I know, and my son keeps telling me, he's like, Mom, you look at yourself every day, you can see them, but they're not that overwhelming. And I get that. I get that. However, I was like, dang, it's like they just right here in the front. So I can't help but like see them every single day. One of the things that I learned about Kanishi's hair, because that's what gray in the technical term is called, is that there's no age in which it actually forms. However, when you overcome challenges, when you overcome obstacles, and when you are highlighting your knowledge and your wisdom, you give me 1 second so I can reaffirm we're still good. Perfect. When you are highlighting your wisdom, you start to get those streaks, right? That's part of where it comes from. So it is decreasing pigmentation in certain aspects. However, it's also where your knowledge is being permeated through the crystalline entity of your body. So your wisdom is actually highlighted. How beautiful is that? So while I get that society will look at it and be like, oh, well, she's old. I don't even know what that means, right? Because that's horrible to say. Age is irrelevant. Age is really just a number, and I just want to let you know a little bit of a tidbit, a little tidbit is that your body doesn't really know age. Okay, it's your mind. It's your mind. So the words that you speak become the reality that you see. Now, I'm not discrediting that I've had the privilege of navigating this terrain and existing for several decades. I'm grateful for that. Trust and believe you me, and I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me. However, you literally are only as old as you believe yourself to be. And the more you integrate and close out unproductive cycles, you see how it come back around? The more you let go so you can float, right? The more you relinquish and you release, the lighter you become and the less the body ages. The warrior saint. I am a warrior of love. My devotion attracts resources and support. And we're going to partner that with the rose quartz. I mean, I can't even make it up. I can't even make it up. because I don't do that. So if you want to schedule a session, go ahead and hit the link, right? You want to get in the masterclass, go ahead and hit the link. You want to talk with Lotus and you need to set up some recurring aspects, go ahead and hit the link. You see where we're going with this? Because I ain't making it up. But the reality of it is that your devotion attracts resources and your support. The biggest aspect of love, listen, every time I say love or we talk back about love, I get a beautiful waft of the candle that is permeating here over to my left. And it's this beautiful, it's kind of like a magnolia with a little bit of lotus in the energy of the candle. I can't remember the exact terminology for it. Can't remember that because I may or may not have discarded the cover that it came with because I was excited about igniting it. But it is kind of like a magnolia and lotus, so very subtle, but you'll hit the floral note underneath. The top note is very vibrant, and then it's a subtle floral underneath. That honestly kind of reminds me of what love feels like. It's very floral underneath, right? But it's got that vibrancy. Love also breaks down for me into limitless opportunities of versatile and vital exchanges or experiences, right? The anagram of love. We often use it recklessly. I love this or I love that. Does it really give you the opportunity to feel fertile, versatile, and vital, right? Your vital essence, your vital energy, your vitality. Is it giving you invigoration? Then not, let it go. And I don't necessarily mean from a romantic stuff because we love is not only romantic, it's not all only familiar, it can be platonic, it can be respectful, right? It's also self. Love has to start with self. So we get very we become so concerned with seeking validation outside of self, right? If so and so does this for me, it's because they love me. If so and so did this, they wouldn't do X, Y, and Z because they love me, right? So we use that in a manner that isn't always conducive to meaning. I know. We use that in a manner that's not always conducive to meaning. When you have love, respect, your devotion, right, to self. I am a warrior of love, the warrior saint, your inner child. You see how this is going? It's internal. When you are a warrior of love, you are going to protect self and not allow certain situations, circumstances, or experiences to happen because they are limiting. Love is limitless opportunities of versatile and vital exchanges or experiences. Is it vital? Is it a necessity that is not limiting you? Does it bring you opportunities? Is it versatile? Can you change? Can you expand? Can you grow? Can you rest? If not, then you have to let it go. And a lot of times we learn that at the earliest aspects that this is what love looks like, but it may have not been the healthiest version of what experiences should be. I know, I know. And as I shared with you, is I had to do a lot of self-reflection in order to find my true center, in order to prevent from repeating unproductive and outdated cycles in order to call my power back. So as I sit here with you, not only is this resonating with me, but I can be the vessel and the practicer of the preaching because I went through it myself in order to guide the next one. Remember, you either reach back and teach back, or you reach back and you witness. I reach back and teach back because if I reach one and teach one, we all win because they become a warrior of love and they are healing their inner child and then they replicate that cycle. Why? Because they're teaching it to others. So then we have a community with a common unity of those that are doing the self work, We're analyzing the cycle that we're in. We're learning patience, okay? Pyromorphite, we're learning patience, and then we are moving from heart centered energy, and we are not limiting ourselves. Why? Because we understand that we have vital importance. We are deserving and desiring of versatile opportunities, and I want to have limitless exchanges and experiences. Because why? I am love. And I love and accept myself just as I am. I say it, and so it is. The joy permeated mother, like I can see her. I don't even have to turn it around and read it, but I'll show it. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. The joy permeated mother. I've been a mother longer than I've been a grown woman. And as I sit here with you, and this is where I was just shooing away the little antiques that were coming in. It's not many. You guys, this has been great sitting here underneath this tree, and there is not an overabundance of bugs. I know people get animus about being outside in a full fledged manner. I love being outside as much as I can, but there's not this overabundance of like ants underneath this tree, which is great because I'm sitting underneath a tree and I have my coffee and I can look and there's not like bugs and everything in it. It's great. I love it. I've been a mother longer than I've been a grown woman. And I had to raise myself while raising my children, right? And I know I'm not alone in this scenario. There are plenty of women. I know other women who were teenage mothers. Um, I know other women whose mothers and grandmothers were teenage mothers, right? So I'm not alone. You're not alone in that experience. What I am saying is that we don't always realize that there is more to being that woman who was a teenage mother, right? Follow where I'm headed with this. I had to learn that there was things that I was shown that I cannot continue to replicate. One of those cycles was teenage parenthood, right? That was something, and it was a challenge. It was an all-out challenge. I'm not going to discredit that. I didn't have a show, right? I didn't have a series. I had challenges. But one of the things I recognized that we could not continue in my lineage was teenage parenthood. Couldn't do it. And I am privileged and pleased to say that that is a cycle that stopped with me, right? Now, I won't say that my children have not reproduced their own offspring, but they weren't teenagers. They were of adult age. They had finished their education experience. They had lived some components of life. They had started making choices as adults could do, young adults, but they started making choices as young adults could do. And one of those decisions they made were to step into parenthood. But they had the ability to live out their childhood. I am grateful for that. That brings me joy as a mother, right? The Lotus Mother became my brand because I found myself doing a lot of mothering to other women because mothering is guiding, nurturing, and a lack of judgmental aspect. One of my biggest phrases that I use that you can start to pre-order the shirts when you're ready. I'm going to create some information around that, but no judgment, just observation. I'm actually not a very judgmental person. In my human design, I have an open mind center. I couldn't be closed-minded if I tried. Like, I recommend that you do some of these other self assessments, like learning yourself. I am the self that never changes. I am my own guru. I know me, good, bad, and indifferent. I know who I am. You have the ability to choose if who I am is someone that you want to intertwine your experiences in life with. But I am not going to allow others to cause me to view myself differently. But I will assess if there are things that I need to restructure in order to be a better version. Hence, remember, because I've always been on center stage, right? So I do a lot of self assessment, but I'm not going to let you cause me to question me. I will question me if it's something that I know needs to take place. Why? Because you don't know me. You don't know me, and I don't know you. But what I do know is that I am worthy and deserving of being who I am, and so are you. And we can agree to disagree, right? Like that's the way I think people should engage with each other, especially when you do the self work, right? But a lot of times we don't do that because it takes time, right? It takes time, patience. But when you do that, you won't somebody wouldn't be able to come and tell you about yourself, right? Like you can't tell me about me. I could tell you about me. I know what's best for me. You can't tell me what's best for me. I can tell you what's best for me, but you can't tell me what's best for me. And then you're not caught in cycles simultaneously that you know are limiting and that are causing you to remove that self-love, because anything that begins with self-confidence, self-esteem, self-value, self-worth, self-discipline, self-love is all about self. It's all about self. So you have to be willing, right? And that's where the pyromorphite and the patience comes back in. I love that this is partnered with the joy permeated mother, because mothering takes time. It is a heart centered experience. And in order to get to the rooting of a challenge, experience, or obstacle, you have to be willing to uncover the layers. Hence, we started with the level of transformation, that serpentine energy, right? That serpentine energy. You got to be willing to shed the skin, and it's not easy. And as you go into it, you want to stop because it's not always joyful. It's not pleasant. But I use myself as an example. Why? Because that wasn't easy to sit and be like, nah, bro, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. Why? Because the challenges that continue to replicate through the lineage can be debilitating. How are we going to progress if we keep putting ourselves in cycles that are unproductive? So somebody got to step up and do that. And then in turn, you find joy. Why? Because you reach back, you teach back. Now I can witness my children in their magnanimity. And as they grow into this new levels and versions of themselves, not only are they tremendous parents, not only are they tremendous people, they also have beautiful careers, right? Like that brings me a lot of joy to sit back as a mother and be like, this is the offspring, this is the product, this is the seed that was allowed to grow. Yes, there was patience in that, but look what it produced. Look what I was able to produce. Yeah, I had to do a lot of work. Yes, there were a lot of cycles that I had to overcome. Yes, there was a lot of challenges that I had to beat. Yes, I had to fight for the love. I had to fight to not be limited. I had to fight to not experience challenges. I had to fight in order to pull myself out of the obstacles. But look where I am now, right? So you got to sit there and you really got to survey the landscape. Sit there and survey the landscape and say, what is my heart asking me to do? You don't need to be like, how can I do more? How can I do more? No. What do I need to remove that is not serving me? What can I remove that is not serving me? And truly, when you truly give yourself the opportunity to listen, you'll know what to do. And see, we hear the guidance. We hear it. Spirit told me to get myself up today and come out here and record. Spirit told I had to walk back to my flat 3 times today, okay, to get everything set up to come out here and spend almost 2 hours with you today. Spirit told me to get up and record, and I was like, I haven't done a live in a very long time, right? I haven't. I haven't done a live reading in a very long time because I haven't. I honestly didn't know what I was supposed to be sharing because I didn't. I did not know. But what I have been setting intentions for is exactly what I'm doing right at this moment, right? When I was laying in the still and the dark of my bedroom, in spirit, it was like, I need you to go and share this message, okay? Instead of discrediting and assuaging and just be like, yeah, no, I'm not. Because, I pulled a 9-hour day yesterday. I'm a little tired. I could sit here and just chillax, right? That sounds like a good idea, but no. I got up, got everything that I thought I needed, got here half the way, and realized I left my earbuds in the room. Okay, got to go back to my bedroom. Got to get them out. Got it. Okay, great. Got back, and then I was like, oh, I forgot my cards. Okay. Like I had all the ideas and everything. I thought I checked my bag and everything before I left. I didn't, but I had all the concepts and the ideas. Remember, we've been working on the clarity of the mind, all the thoughts coming in simultaneously. And then I was like, oh, okay, I got to go back again. Forgot something. I can't remember what the last thing I forgot, but I ended up having to go back. So I ended up walking back to my flat 3 times before I sat down and started recording. And then when I started my recording, it was on an energy that was like, we're closing out old cycles and we're opening a new one. And the portal was open. I set up our space, and here we are. I connected with someone that I hadn't spoken to in years, right? I was able to openly share my truth as I sit here now and experience being outside in nature and letting the old cycle close and open a new one under this beautiful new moon in Aries, under this grand landscape, because I am living my dreams in real time. I got the guidance and details that I needed in order to persevere and receive the connection. And had I not listened to what was truly coming through, I would have missed all of that because I wouldn't have been in the space that I needed to be in. So, spirit is talking to you and is asking to come through you. You have to have the courage to listen and follow through. When you ask openly, truthfully, and honestly, truthfully and honestly, what do I need to remove in order to receive, renew, and move? Receive, renew, and move, you'll get the answer. But then you have to be willing to shed the layers, the serpentine. You have to be willing to transform. And the Kundalini energy, baby, this is a whole nother segment. It's a whole nother segment. That Kundalini energy is going to rise because we also have the snake energy. And it's the rising. The lady in red is coming for heads because that fury inside, boo, that's the journey I went. Listen, the lady in red is one of my spoken word poems. I'm going to finish my album this year. It's going to be so beautiful. I've started some of it. The lady in red, the joy for me to mother. When you have the courage to listen to what spirit is showing you and telling you, the power that you receive. So we're talking about foundational fluidity and rooting, because as we're sitting here, Aries is that fiery courage. You want it right now. You want it all right now. But if you don't take the inspired action, the manifestations don't come. The inception, the ingenuity, the insight, the eye, the action. That's the part that most people will always miss, is the A, the action. They're contracting. It's I apostrophe M, right? So you got the insight and you want the manifestation, but the action is what's missing. The I am. The A is what is missing. You got to take that action, because Taurus energy right now, and this is another component about the patience. That Taurus energy can be very stubborn. It's earth energy. Earth, and it's fixed earth energy, right? It's fixed. The earth is fixed. It's not moving. But the seed that you planted in that soil need toiling. You got to toil those seeds. So you're going to have to turn that earth over. You're going to have to let the new energy, the new oxygenated, the new oxygen to breathe through that soil, right? It also is what the sprouts are going to burst through in order for you to eat from those miraculous seeds that you've been planting. Taurus energy is governed by Venus. Venus is going to be all the things that we find of value: stability, structure, wealth, luxury, right? But it's what you value. It's your love, that limitless opportunity of versatile, vital exchanges and experiences. You got to take all this fired up action and you got to put some purposeful motion behind it. Don't get stuck in the insight. Don't get stuck in the imagination. Don't get stuck in the inception, the dream within the dream. Boom. Inception, that's a good movie too. Don't get stuck in the dream within the dream. You got to take action and move, and you will have the luxurious stability that you desire. You have to take action and move, and you will have the luxurious stability that you desire. Ashe, and so it is. I love it. I'm going to get us a closing goddess energy for us. I am so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in increasing amounts from multiple sources and continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now, right here in this moment, that money flows to me from increasing amounts of multiple sources and on a continual basis. I am so happy that I have the privilege to serve my community, to provide inspiration, motivation, dedication, aspirations, wisdom, beauty, stability, structure, peace, and prosperity to my community. I am so grateful that I am openly appreciated, that I am loved, that I am supported, that I am nurtured. I am grateful that the universe constantly meets me where I am, always meets my needs, and everything is openly received from me abundantly with ease. Ashe and so it is. I am so happy and grateful that I have a strong intuition, that I am the universe's favorite child, that everything always works out in my favor, and that no weapon formed against me shall ever prosper. I am so happy and grateful that everything that I've ever envisioned for myself is coming true in this exact moment, that I am limitless, that I am vital, that I am necessity, and that I am versatile. I am so grateful that everything always works out in my favor, and I am so grateful that everything that I ever need is always provided to me with ease. And trust me, I only say yes if this is a holy hell yes. This is Freya. Freya, the goddess of discernment. I spend my time wisely and I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. Freya. And again, this is that goddess Leo fiery energy, just like Thecla popped right out there, and you see Freya, she's fiery and soaring. This is this. This is it. And this is your discerning energy. This is it. This is this. And this is your discerning energy. And if you've appreciated the advice on self love and overcoming repeating cycles, I honor you and appreciate you. And I would be openly appreciative if you would share this with others, if you would leave me a comment and let me know how this resonated with you. But more importantly, if you would click my link and support my offerings, because if I can be further of service to you in this community, then it's what I'm here to do. I'm Lotus, the Lotus Mother, and today has been a spiritual reading on shedding cycles and taking action. And I look forward to working with you again very soon. Be well, my loves. Take care.